Hey, you guys. Hello, everybody. Good evening, everybody. I'm just going to wait for a couple of people to come in and just wanted to give you guys a word of encouragement. So I'm just going to chit chat while we're just waiting for a couple of people to come in. You can ask me questions if you like. And whenever you like to come in, come talk to me. I'm just going to give you some words of encouragement to start your weekend. Working off of 2 cameras. Sunday. Just came in the door, settling down. So you guys come on in and say hello to me. If you guys have any questions, you are more than welcome to come in. I know on Sunday, so people are getting ready for work this evening, but you're welcome to come in and ask some questions. I'm not going to be on long. I just wanted to give some words of encouragement for the weekend for those of you that are dealing with narcissist abuse. Hey there, Mr. Naylor. Did you get my email? Good evening, everybody. So I'm just going to introduce myself really quick for those of you that go back on playback or rewind. So I'm Dr. Carmen Bryan of Psychological Health Consultants and Services, and I developed a program that's called Redefining Yourself. And this program was developed basically with women in mind, though I always reiterate that men go through the same thing that women go through. And it is domestic violence, and so it's for those that have that are thinking of leaving. They need more information. A lot of times, you need more information, or you have left domestic violent situation. Somebody kissed me on my jaw, so I got the lipstick on my lip, y'all. So, but those that are leaving and maybe recovering from domestic violence. But my main focus is narcissist abuse. Let's see. It does sound like the typical narcissist, and I apologize because I was doing, you know how you talking to your telephone when you're, sometimes, I know I'm wrong, y'all. And sometimes when I'm trying to respond to like an email, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. I speak into the telephone while I'm driving, so it'll write my information. And so I did not mean to call you Miss. I meant to call you Mister, but you see all the typos that were in there, so I apologize. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. But yes. And I'm not gonna read the whole story because I don't have a third iPad or anything, but the story that Mr. Naylor was telling is about a female narcissist. And the female narcissist that he was referring to is, if you don't mind me saying, just let me know you don't mind me saying, and I'll wait a minute. Okay. So Mr. Naylor, who is one of the subscribers on my YouTube channel, he's a male who has been through narcissist abuse with a female. And so first of all, I'm very honored because even though the program is developed for women, I always reiterate that men go through the same thing. And the story that he told, and I can't tell the whole story because it was a long story, but the story that he told is the typical narcissist female, but the traits of the narcissist is exactly what the males do to females. And, she love bombed you. And the thing about it is she was already married, and so you became the second source of supply in the very beginning. You became the second source of supply, and she was still married. Now, whether her and her husband were actually going through the divorce at the time, or she had to make sure she secured you or locked you in the relationship, and then proceeded on with the divorce. Some of them do that. Some narcissists will lock in their supply first to make sure they have a good supply, and then they'll file for divorce. And so yours is a typical story of the narcissist. And then when you ran into her ex-husband, who was the husband at the time, he actually warned you. And so you were warned of the narcissist. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're dating somebody, first of all, and I am not, what's the word I'm looking for? Condemning you. I've been in the same shoes before, but I'm not condemning you. But if someone is married, they're married. You don't know what their story is, and don't let them pull you into their stories. Well, I'm having issues, or hey, the situation is a little complicated. But that right there was a red flag as well. And then the ex-husband let you know that, this lady got issues, so that was a red flag there. But a lot of times, whether it's male or female, a lot of times we want to be in a relationship. We want to be loved. This is a totally different person that you're accustomed to being with in the first place. And so, of course, they win your heart. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit. It feels like I'm looking up into the sky at the camera, and then I have another camera down low. Okay, let me see. Well, I don't want to pop it off, so hold on, give me a second. Let's see and get my big head in here, okay? My camera before I start talking here. Okay, I think that looks a little better. On here, my head looks really, really huge, and then on here, I look really, really small. But as we were saying, is that you know, the ex-husband warned you. See, there were some red flags there, but a lot of times we get into relationships because we want to be in a relationship. We want somebody to love us. You know, we want to give love too. But she love bombed you. And made you feel really good about yourself. You felt really proud to be with this lady. And then, of course, she started grooming you some. She was grooming you before, but she groomed you. And then she started doing, and hopefully you've been following the videos, but then she started trauma bonding you. And so she would do, sometimes women can be just as violent as men can. So a lot of times when we talk about domestic violence, a lot of times we do focus on females. I mean, a male versus the female, you know, and the male being the batterer. But believe you me, females can be batterers too. So females can be just as vicious as males can be. And so in your situation, even though she may not have physically attacked you, and I'm not sure if she physically attacked you within the relationship or not, but she trauma bonded you. So what she did is she talked to you and found out your vulnerabilities. And when she found out your vulnerabilities, she used those vulnerabilities to hurt you in order to get you to comply or make you do. And you sound like a very nice and generous person. You literally sound like, and most Marines that you meet are very helpful. You know, the ones that I have met that, you know, even though they call you jarhead, and I know you're not. And you have to tell me why do they call Marines jarheads? I meant to ask my cousin. My cousin is Marine as well. But you have to tell me a story why they call Marines jarheads. I've heard different stories. I heard about the hat. I heard about but she groomed you and then she trauma bonded you. And so a lot of things that she did, she used a lot of facial expression. She used your weaknesses. So the things that you told her in secret and you were passionate about, she used that against you to hurt you. And it sounds like you're a very nice, generous individual. I apologize. My phone rang. But it sounds like you're a really, really nice and generous individual. And it sounds like that you don't mind helping people. And so she played on your generosity, or she played on your kindness and used you, but really controlled you. That's what she did. Let me see what you just said. I'm sorry. She painted the story of how badly she was treated. I fell for it. The snares and the snapping. If I didn't do as she pleased, no, not physical, just mental. Okay. I mean, some women are, you know, we talk about how vicious men are. Hey, Miss Katina. But we talk about how vicious men are. Women can be just as, but of course, think about it for a minute. Everything that I've been talking about when we were talking about narcissist abuse, they're going to paint a picture. They're always the victim. Think about it. And I know I talked about it from the female perspective and the male being the abuser, but think about it for just a minute. Okay, I'll move my camera, move the whole table closer. Okay, there we go. But think about it for just a minute. Everything that I've been teaching on YouTube, and this applies to you too, Mr. Naylor, is remember I was telling you that they paint this perfect illusion, but they're always a victim. Everyone always does them wrong. Everyone is always abusing them. They're always mistreated. Always, always, always. And so that is typical. That she played the victim and made it seem like, you know, she was so mistreated. She was abused. Ms. Katina, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, okay? But Mr. Naylor, that's typical. They're going to play the victim, you know, and then for a female, you know, that feminine role, and I'm the victim, and woe is me, and oh my gosh, and everyone mistreats me. So, of course, they're going to play the victim. That's just like a male narcissist. They always play the victim. Everybody is out to get them. Everybody does them so wrong. Everybody hurts them. Everyone is out to get them. So, let's see. Not physical. So, the story is... Oh, the story, you're going to tell me about the jar head. Okay, the story is the head is like a jar, and you can open it up and put anything you want into that jar, implying we don't think for ourselves, easily brainwashed. Shut up, in a very respectful way. Shut up. I did not know that. I thought it was the hat. So I've heard about the hat, but I said, I'm going to ask him, Marie. I never had a chance to ask my cousin. Thank you for telling me that. Well, you guys are not dumb. I've met some very, you know, crazy sometimes. but not dumb. But I honor you guys because you guys are normally in the forefront before the Army gets to the forefront. So when they deploy people besides Delta, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, you know, the Marines are usually the first ones to hit the ground anyway. So I honor that. So you guys went ahead of me, but I was logistics. So logistics, we're going to make sure you can drive. We're going to make sure food get to you. We're going to make sure your trucks are up and going. We're going to make sure that you're taken care of and all the mechanics. So we're going to take care of you while you go out front. So let's see. Red flag I ignored. Her mom once said her biggest fear was to have her daughter be alone if she passed. The mother was afraid that the daughter was going to be alone. Well, number one, let's think about this for a minute. What if the mother was a narcissist too? A lot of narcissists do come from narcissistic families. So what if the mother was a narcissist? So if the mother was a narcissist and she groomed and she grew up a narcissist, or if you went back and looked at, I did a video on codependent, the codependent families and the roles that they play, and excuse me, and the narcissist ends up being like the person with the issue, and then everybody plays these roles like the codependents. The biggest codependent is normally the one that's closest to the narcissist, like the wife, the husband, or in this case could be the mother, you know, or she could have been, you know, on the mother. And everybody plays their role. You have the scapegoat, then you have the silent child. The scapegoat is normally, is the silent one, the scapegoat, there's another one, I can't recall. But one of them is usually the one that doesn't have a problem with telling the family secrets. So the one that is willing to tell the family secrets is the one that's abused the most. And usually is the one that's hated the most. Then you got one of the favorite kids. One of the favorite kids is usually the one, hey, Miss Natasha, how are you, ma'am? Thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate and ask. Please ask whatever you want to. So, Miss Katina, you have a pretty profile picture. And Miss Natasha, you look so pretty. I can see you guys in the corner, the little bubbles. You guys are little bubble heads. But so if she was groomed by, or if, you know, depending on the family dynamics, you know, number one, sometimes the children of a narcissist become a narcissist as well. And so you have that silent child. That's the one that normally doesn't give them any problems. They're kind of quiet. They really don't know what to do with them. They don't know how to get supply out of them. Then you have the one child that doesn't mind telling all the family business. They'll tell it. They usually are, you know, you have the scapegoat too. The scapegoat is normally one that has the problematic child. And so the behavior is usually an indicator that something's going wrong. But normally the scapegoat is usually the one that does not have a problem with telling family secrets. And so she could have been, you know, the mother could have been either codependent on the narcissistic child, or the mother could have been narcissistic as well. What was her mom like, Mr. Naylor? What when you talked to her mom, even though she made that comment, what was her mom like? Another thing too, narcissistic children. Well, thank you, Miss Natasha. Thank you so much. Ask me a question, okay? So ask whatever question you want to ask. There's nothing off limits except how much I weigh, okay? And you know I'm a very quiet, shy, and short person, so you guys have to be patient with me. Okay, I lied. So my outside voice is usually my inside voice. So that's the type of person I am. Okay, I'm loud. But anyway, so I believe she was a narc, and her brother was also a narc, but the older brother was the scapegoat. Her middle brother was an overt narc, religious, and always controlled her husband. Wow. And you know, the funny thing is not funny, that you know, remember narcissists like control. And so a lot of times you'll find, like, you know, and it's not just the females, but the males, they're males too. They usually find out what is relevant to the person that they're trying to control. And so if that person is into religion or goes to church, then what they'll do is they take upon the religious role. And a lot of times it's not from the heart, you know, it's not from the heart, but they take upon a religious role to use religion to control a person. So they'll use religion, they'll use, you know, whatever belief system they have, whether they're Buddhist, whether they're Christian, you know, whatever the belief system is they will twist it to control that individual. They'll use whatever teachings, religious teachings, to control that individual. So if your ex-wife or ex-narc wife comes from a narcissistic family, then most narcissists don't even get along with each other because they know how to play the game. And so they probably bump heads a lot, you know, in the first place. So she comes from a narcissistic family. So she was groomed and raised around. And then remember now, if the mother was a narcissist, that means that your ex was a extension of her mother. And on top of that, she may have also been like the star child. And so a lot of times the star child, which is the favorite child for the narcissist, which is the one that's easily manipulated, the one that kind of goes with the flow, you know, is usually easily manipulated and becomes narcissistic themselves or narcissistic themselves. And so, you know, it's a possibility that the mother is using the daughter is using the mother. See, her father actually told me that he was sorry and had nothing against me, but couldn't say more as my ex was glaring at him as we talked. He said, I know you're a good man and I appreciate you taking, oh Lord, taking what, her? I know it's a little slow, so I'm going to talk until the rest of the message comes through, okay? But she comes from a narcissistic family, so, you know, out of all the kids, you got the narcissist. So she was groomed by a narcissist, and she was an extension of her mother. So poor father is probably the victim of the narcissist abuse as well. Okay, so let me read that. I appreciate you taking care of my wife when she was ill and always helped us in any way. Well, you know what, Mr. Naylor? 9 times out of 10, the father was just like you. So that means the father was probably just like you. Okay, I think my battery's about to run down. Okay, let me look. Give me just a second, okay? Okay, I think we may be good. We might be all right. Give me just a second, you guys. Let me see if I can find a long cord, okay? I'll be right back. I'll be right back, Mr. Naylor. Samara, do you have a long cord I can borrow real quick? A long charging cord? But I need a long one. Because my battery's going to die, but I'm so far away from the table. Oh my gosh. You think this one? Oh, this one. Sorry. Okay, sorry you guys. I was looking for a long cord because it looked like my battery is running low. Okay, so I'm back. Sorry about that. So, okay, Mr. Naylor, what I was saying was there's a, you know, if the mother is a narcissist. Oh, thank you, my child. Hold on, my child came to the rescue with a battery pack. Give me a second. Let me. Oh Lord. All right, give me a second. Let me put the battery pack on here, okay? You guys still with me? Hey, Miss Donna, just being real? Okay. I'm charging my battery. Give me a second. Let me see if it's charging. Ha ha ha, the battery. Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry about that. Hey, Pastor Ali. Okay, as I was saying, Mr. Naylor, think about it for, hey, lady. So think about it for just a minute. So if your ex-wife was a narcissist and her mom was a narcissist, just imagine what the father is going through. If you went through what you went through with one narcissist, imagine what your ex-father-in-law was going through with all those narcissists in the house. And so narcissists are breeding narcissists, but they're all playing into each other. And remember, they don't have empathy. So each one of them looks at each other as a source of fuel. I don't know what the ex-wife, did she do anything extraordinary or anything to bring, bring attention to her mother? If she brought attention to the mother, she's looked at because she's one of the kids, and then the narcissistic kids of the narcissistic mother are all extensions of the mother. And so the mother looks at them as, you make me look good. I'm getting fuel because all your endeavors or all things that you do makes me look good. I mean, when you're talking about narcissism, I mean, like I said before, you know, narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health disorder. It's a dysfunction. If you really think about it, you know, the way that they present themselves, you know, and this is for you too, you know, males. Hey, Miss Robbie, welcome. Ask me whatever question you want to ask me, you guys. you know, I'm open and ready. I'm still wide awake. And so please ask me whatever question you want to ask me. Just don't ask me how much I weigh, okay? Because you know I'm a very tiny, petite, short lady. And don't anybody make a comment on that because you don't know my life. Okay, but anyway. So I have family on the other scope, y'all. So anyway, but this is what you know, when you're dealing with a person with narcissistic personality disorder, you're dealing with a person that has a mental health disorder. You're dealing with an individual whose defense mechanism has turned inward. A narcissist portrays himself as being overconfident, being grandiose. You know, look at what you went through, Mr. Naylor. Look at what some of you guys went through that have experienced narcissist abuse. But in reality, thank you. I do have a sense of humor. I just try to stay really professional whenever I'm doing scopes because I want to give you guys the information. I want you guys to know that it's professional, it's serious, but you got to laugh, especially when you've been through this type of abuse. Think about it. They try to steal your joy. They try to take your happiness. They try to, your self-esteem is low. And so sometimes you got to get around people that can make you laugh, make you smile. And so, yes, I'm a clinician. And when people come to my office, I try to work on trying to make them smile. Because think about it, they've been depressed, they've been sad, they're going through post-traumatic stress. Somebody needs to make them smile, And so I do have a sense of humor. It's just most of the time that I'm pre-recording, when I pre-record, I try to stay focused on the topic to give you the best information I possibly can in reference to your situation. So, but at the same time, I do have a sense of humor. So as my family over here on the other side of the scope, just let them know you can't judge me because I'm a very tiny, petite, and short, and very shy, quiet individual. So now I'm going to talk to them. Don't judge my life. So anyway, as I was saying, Mr. Naylor, but you're dealing with an individual that has a defense mechanism that is turned in on itself. And if you really look at a narcissist is very, thank you, Miss Robbie. That's my co-pilot right there. But a narcissist is a very angry, confused, enraged individual. And they're hurting individuals. They have a very low self-esteem. Not only do they have a very low self-esteem, they have a fear of being rejected and abandoned. You have narcissists, the way that they play the game. This is what they do. Most narcissists already have a fear that they're going to be found out. Most narcissists get found out. Now it's up to the person that they're with to determine whether or not they need to leave. And my suggestion is to go because it's not going to get any better. Narcissist is not going to heal. And so what some of them will do is they'll lock the woman down financially. They'll lock the woman down financially to make it hard for her to leave. And so they try to, when they're whatever they're doing, they're trying to trauma bond you. They're trying to hoover you. They're trying to get you locked down. I am a real doctor, Dr. Turpin. I am a real doctor. Yes, I am. I'm not a medical doctor, but I am a doctor of psychology, doctor of education. And so I am a real doctor. I did my dissertation. I have my certificate, and it costs a lot of money. Yes, I am a doctor. But anyway, as I was saying is, these people are very, they're on the inside, they feel very small, but yet they try to make themselves look really big. And there's this spider. I don't know what kind of spider it is, but what it does have all the babies on top of it, so they carry all the babies. And so the baby, it makes the spider look really big and intimidating. But once you hit the ground like that, all the babies scatter and it's just a little tiny spider. That's how a narcissist is. They puff themselves up really big. That's that grandiosity. They puff themselves up really, really big to make themselves look really, really intimidating. But on the inside, they're really, really tiny. They're very insecure individual people. And they'll do anything. If I'm telling you, they'll go to all lengths to lock down their source of supply. And if you are a good source of supply, they go to many lengths to lock down a good source of supply to get fuel. And that means if you have money, and not all of us are wealthy and rich, I am in here and in my heart, and it's going to manifest itself soon. But everybody is not overly wealthy and the extreme rich people. But when they find somebody that has something that they want, whether you own a house, you have your own car, well, hopefully you have a car. If you don't, that's fine. There's transit over here. People ride the bus, save money. But they'll find something And what they do is they try to lock you down because they don't remember it's a power and control. And so it's domestic violence, it's power and control. They will lock you down by creating a whole bunch of bills that makes it hard for you to leave. And if you leave, there's still an aftermath of when you have left. You know, some people go through divorce proceedings. They got to separate property. They got to do this. They got to do this. Just another reason why they can argue with you or try to pull you in. And so when you're dealing with these type of people, remember they can also have a diagnosis of sociopath and psychopath, and they can murder. And so there are a lot. Remember Ted Bundy? Ted Bundy was a narcissist. And if you remember how he used to play the game, he would go to college campuses and play injured. So he used to walk around on crutches, and he was a very nice looking guy. And so the women, what did they do? They showed empathy. They show, oh my gosh, you know, can we help you? And that's how he played on the empathy or the sympathy, the empathy of possible victims. And so you do have, if you go into prison, you'll find a whole bunch of narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths. And now it's called anti-personality disorder. But just so you'll understand the intensity of what I'm talking about, narcissists are on the same playing field as them. And I always make the example, for example, what was his name? Yeah, Ted Bundy. What was the other guy? And I said his name yesterday. What was his name? No, sir, I did not go to Everest College. But anyway, as I was saying is that, hold on, let me think. What was his name? I can't recall his name. He was the one that was, that would go out and look for young men and then have sexual intercourse with them, and then he would eat them. And then, not Gary Ridgway, but he was one too. But he would eat his victims. No, sir, not ITT Tech either. Dahmer. What's his name? Dahmer. What was his name? What's his first name? Jeffrey. Ah, there you go. Jeffrey Dahmer. Remember? Yeah, Jeffrey. There you go. Jeffrey Dahmer would go out and look for males that were prostitutes, that were lonely, that he was. Yes, there you go. But he would look for people that were broken, that were hurt. Yes, Miss Katina, that were hurt. And he would lure them back into his apartment. He would rape them. And you know what? Are you a real doctor? Let me hide you. But anyway. Okay, so I apologize. This was a narcissist on there, y'all. See? You see how they come out when we start talking? If you're on my YouTube channel, you guys pay attention. Narcissists are watching, y'all. Narcissists are watching, so you guys pay attention, okay? But anyway, Jeffrey Dahmer used to, let me see what you said. I'm sorry, I missed it. You ever hear of John Wayne Gacy? Yep. Him too. Gary Ridgway, Ted Bundy. But think about it. We hear them in the news, right? So we hear about how they do these murders. They're serial killers and how they had sex with these men. And then all of a sudden they, for example, Dahmer goes and eats the people. So here we are. We're petrified. Oh my gosh, what's wrong with these people? These people are evil. But do you realize that a narcissist, some of them were narcissists. So do you see how dangerous these individuals are? And we have people that are coming out of relationships with narcissists. Not all narcissists want to murder you, you know, but think about it for a minute. The greatest sacrifice that you can give a narcissist is your life. They don't mind you murdering yourself. That is the greatest fuel that they can get, the ultimate fuel. But the thing about it is that they won't grieve and mourn the loss of you. They grieve and mourn the loss of the supply because they didn't get the chance to lock in another supply just as good as you. Dahmer's crimes were so heinous that the apartments he lived in were torn down to erase his memory. See? Think about it. And narcissists are on that same playing field. That's how dangerous a narcissist is. And so for those of you that have, yes, very dangerous. So think about it. You don't know who you're with. And you can't, for some people, you're very vulnerable. For some people, you're very, you're vulnerable. And so males and females alike, nowadays you have to ask, I need your portfolio, I need your credit check, I need a credit check, I need you to do an HIV test, I need to know whether you are male or female, because some people won't even tell you that. I need to, you know, he targeted African American males. Did he? I need to go back and look at that. See? Now think about this too. So I was talking to one of my big brothers, and him and I were having a discussion. We were talking about narcissists. You guys know Hitler was a narcissist, right? So most of you guys know Adolf Hitler was a narcissist. So check out though, look at the large following that he had. He was a very powerful, charismatic teacher, and he convinced yeah, Hitler. Now let me tell you this real quick. You know, before I start talking, I'm from Germany. I'm from Munich, Germany. My mother is German, but I am African American, European descent. So I am from Europe. So I am from Germany. I'm from Munich, Germany. So I just want to put that disclaimer in there real quick before I make this statement. Hitler was able to convince the German population of how important, how relevant, and how dominant they are on this earth, and that they were the master race, right? And that every other race was inferior to them. So they were the ones. He started doing experiments. He started doing things. He would have women living on this camp and reproducing these children with German soldiers, blonde hair, blue eyes, to create a master race. But check this out. I didn't know this part. I did not know his mother was an Austrian Jew. She was an Austrian Jew. And he went and murdered millions and millions of Jewish people, and his mother was an Austrian Jew. So think about that for a minute. Now, Hitler convinced all these people, who had these people all in their emotions, the pride of Germany, millions of people. He was able to go, and I also found out that when he did speeches, he would stand in front of the mirror and practice his speeches. So he would practice his speeches in front of a mirror. Now, this is something that we kind of learn to do in college or in high school. They tell you to stand in front of a mirror and practice speeches. But he practiced speeches in front of a mirror. Miss Katina said, thank you for all the information tonight. You have a good evening until next time. Okay, you too. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. And Mr. Nelly, you said he was Austrian and he hated his mother because she was a Jew. He convinced them out of fear. That's right. Thank you, Pastor Ali. Exactly. So think about this. Now, keep that in mind, that he went after the Jewish people, and yet he was really, if you think about it, if you look at Jewish history, historically the Jewish people, they are Jewish by blood through the mother. And based on my studies, Pastor Ali, please correct me if I'm wrong, but based on my study, it said that the inheritance of Jewish descent, to be considered Jewish, it was the mother. That gave the Jewish inheritance, or Jewish, not title, but they were Jewish because the mother was Jewish, in other words. So think about it for just a minute. If Hitler's mother was Jewish, Hitler was Jewish, and he went after his own kind. 6 million Jews. You should have watched the fall of the Third Reich. Look at his hands. He couldn't stop shaking. He was on so many drugs, or Auschwitz on Netflix. I'm gonna go watch it. Okay, I'm gonna go watch it. But think about it. That's one of your ultimate narcissists, right? So now let's go back to the modern day narcissist that we deal with, the one that you dealt with, Mr. Naylor, and the one that some of you guys dealt with. Think about it. If Hitler went after all the people that reminded him of his mother, have you ever wondered what his mother may have done to him? What was the injury that was so bad that made him go after all these Jews? Okay. And remember, in my earlier recordings, what I talked about is that majority of the narcissists that I diagnosed, now I can't speak for every therapist. I can only speak from my experience. Other therapists may have other experiences, and it would be wonderful if they were able to tune in and give me their experience. I just know from my experience as a clinician, and I need to talk to other people, but every time I have done assessments and evaluations, every narcissist that I've ever evaluated had sexual molestation, rape, some kind of sexual assault when they were young. And so it makes you wonder what happened to Hitler if he was that angry at his own mother to kill millions of Jews. Ted Bundy went after a specific type of women. I think it was brunettes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Naylor. I think it was brunettes. And you said that Jeffrey Dahmer, went after African American men. Why would he go after African American men? What happened to you, Jeffrey? You know, why were you going after brunettes? I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think brunettes that look like his mother. What did your mother do to you? You know, Hitler went after all the Jewish people and those people that were other than Jew. What did his mother do to him? So that makes you look at the narcissist that abused you. What is it about you that reminds them of their original pain? What original pain are they going after when they're pursuing people? Those of you that know the movie Kiss the Girl, if you get an opportunity, go watch Kiss the Girl. That's a story about a narcissist. He goes after very strong, powerful women, and once he's depleted and he kills them, he goes find some more women, to stalk and then murder. But go watch that. That's a movie about a narcissist. Miss Robbie asked, do most narcissists have issues with their mother? I was just talking about that. I don't think so. It sounds like a lot of the ones that we're talking about have issues with their mothers. A lot of the ones, you know what? One of the things that I found out in domestic violence in general is when I was doing some training, with. Remember what you said about the narcissists that hate themselves? Exactly. They also go after the weaknesses in other people that remind them of themselves too. But one thing that I learned in domestic violence, if you watch it, the type of, when I was dealing with men that have been sexually assaulted that were not narcissists. And so a lot of times, it takes a lot for a man to come into counseling and to even admit that they have been sexually assaulted or molested. A lot of men that came in and had been said, now these are non-narcissistic men, but a lot of men that came in and disclosed to me that they were sexually molested by a man, what I noticed about them they lived their life trying to prove that they were not homosexual. And so they became very promiscuous. A lot of them were very angry. Excuse me. Some of them did. Messed up family relation can produce these type of people. Oh, excellent. I was embarrassed to seek help. I felt I was weak. Oh, absolutely not, Mr. Naylor. The weakest thing is not to seek help at all. And sometimes you'll find out there are men out there just like you that have been through the exact same thing. You'd be surprised at the gentlemen that I've met in counseling that have entrusted me. Some of these men are so broken and so hurt. And usually I can work with the ones that have anger issues, but usually if they have personality disorders, I do refer them back out. Narcissists, I do not treat narcissism. I treat the after effects, the survivors of narcissism, or those that are in abusive relationship. But one of the things that I did, like I was saying earlier, is that when I was counseling men that have been sexually abused in childhood, I've had men that were sexually abused by men. And so a lot of them lived their life trying to prove that they were not homosexual. A lot of them tried to be extra masculine. They tried to bulk up and get big, and they tried to look strong. They tried to have as many women as possible. They tried to be over masculine, get the biggest cars, muscle cars, to prove. And I was talking to a gentleman, and when I found out he had been molested, he said that one of the biggest thing what I found out is that when a child is small and they're being molested or abused by an adult, for example, a male, a big, they're so tiny that usually when they grow up and start thinking, I'm going to be stronger, I'm going to make sure this never happens to me again, I'm going to get bulked, I'm going to prove that I'm not gay. The other thing is that they confessed that it was pleasurable. And they cried. When they told me it was pleasurable, they cried. And so what I had to do is I had to provide them with psychoeducation. I had to teach them that the body is meant to respond to sexual touch. The body is a sexual organ, and the body responds to sexual touch. And what I had to do to normalize the situation is hey there, Miss Rahel, how are you? Please tell me I'm pronouncing your name right, because I'll mess your name up. I'll call you Raquisha. Rahel, I hope that was right. But a lot of them would cry and say, but the sexual assault, what the male was doing to me was pleasurable. And so because of the fact that it was pleasurable, oh, thank you. But a lot of times they said that the sexual touch or the sexual molestation was pleasurable. But think about it: if a male is grooming a child and sexually abusing them, they're not trying. Well, some of them will hurt them because they're dangerous. They're trying to hurt them. They're trying to get control. But a lot of them are grooming them so it makes it easier for them to get what they're looking for, the sexual assault. And so some men, but they're very angry, but they were hurt. And when I started explaining to them physiological reactions and how they respond, and the fact that a man has a prostate, and if you stimulate the prostate, they're going to climax. And so when I normalized it for a lot of men, they cried and they said they never had anybody explain that to them, and they felt normal again. There were some men that have been molested by women, and a lot of the men that I noticed that had been molested by women were angry at women. They were very vicious, and they assault women. They abused women. And so a lot of the ones that were very vicious, and even to a point where hey, Miss Bridget, but even to a point where they were assaulting women, a lot of those men were molested by women. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them that were vicious, it was something that happened to them concerning a woman, especially, and I met some that told me that they had been molested by a female family member. And he cried and said it was pleasurable, but he felt disgusting. He was ashamed. He felt, I'm glad you came on because you couldn't sleep. So whatever question you want to ask me. I'll stay on as long as you want until I get tired. Okay? Tell me what time it is where you guys at, and where you if you don't mind telling me. But like I was saying, so now this is just regular abuse. Good evening, Miss Bridget. If you guys, if you ever go to my professional Facebook page, I do have a friend that is a professional victims advocate, domestic violence advocate, and you guys are welcome to ask her questions too. New York, oh my gosh, you're 3 hours ahead. So it's like 12 o'clock your time. Well, I'm glad that you're spending your time with me. I enjoy hanging out with you guys. But as I was saying, so here you have these men that have been through sexual assault and as children. Now, all of them weren't abusive, but the ones that were abusive were angry, and they confessed to me that they are angry at women. And they were angry at women, and every woman reminded them of the woman that didn't protect them, or if the mother didn't protect them and they were being abused, they came after women. Now, dealing with a narcissist, to answer that question, Ms. Robbie, I don't know if all of them have a problem with their mother, but I do know that narcissists have been abused. How they've been abused, I don't know. The ones that I have dealt with have been sexually abused and physically abused and neglected or rejected. And so a lot of them would attack females. But remember, a lot of narcissists, they are also bisexual. They don't mind crossing the sexual lines and to get their supply. It doesn't matter to them. Supply is supply, and sexual gratification to them, you may be the one that finds gratification in sex, but they don't. They use sex as a tool. A sense of release, but a tool to lock you in. So if sex is your thing, then they'll use that. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna tap my forehead, okay? I'm not sweating, I'm just a little greasy. You guys work with me. I haven't been eating chicken or anything, but I'm a little greasy. Okay, that looks better. Work with me. I got a personality, y'all. Okay, so let's see. Nova Scotia, Canada. Oh, wow. This is by Maine in U.S., very close to Maine. Shut up. Okay, in a good way. I mean, shut up in a good way. I would like to ask the group what helped you the most in your healing. Well, you guys put that on there. What helped you guys most in your healing? Have you guys healed by the Atlantic Ocean? Wow, I bet you it's beautiful. Beautiful over there. I'm trying to heal and find. So Miss Rahel says, I'm trying to heal and find ways to, Jay. I feel like I can't open my heart and lose my light right now, especially Christmas coming and first Christmas, narc free, so it's hard. Dr. Bryant, this Mr. Naylor, Dr. Bryant, one thing I did notice, fake crying. Oh my gosh, come on, you guys, they're actors. Come on, if they're, remember the Great Illusionist? Remember I talked about the Great Illusionist? Come on. Do you guys want me to act out some stuff for you guys? How can you identify the disorder in children and teens? I'll be right with you, Pastor Ali. Come on, let me think of some scenarios that I know of. So, If they know that you're moved by tears, guess what they're going to do? They're going to cry. Remember, they're watching you. Now, they can think about it when you have actors in the Actors Guild and in Hollywood and the movies and everything, right? A lot of the great actors can make themselves cry. A narcissist can make themselves cry. They're not thinking of anything. They're just using that in order to get what they want from you. I'm sorry. I'm having a wardrobe malfunction. Hold on a minute. Let me fix my clothes, okay? So, but they're great. They're illusionists. They played a role. Remember, you spoke the script and they started playing the script that you wrote. You wrote the script to your own movie. And so they're actors. The fake crying, oh, come on. Oh, my God. I've seen the ones, they're discarding you and they know they're in the wrong. So they're looking at you like, do you know what I'm thinking right now? Do you know what is on my mind? Don't nobody care what's on your mind. Yeah, they're fake crying. Whatever they do, and especially females can be super dramatic, especially if they have histrionic personality disorder, which is another dramatic disorder, which is overacting too and extra. Now the kids say extra, they're being extra. And so, they're fake cry. Whatever it takes to get you back, whatever it gets to pull you back in. Okay, I'm sorry, I missed a whole bunch of it, so. Okay, let me go to Pastor Ali before I keep going down, okay? How can you identify the disorder in children and teens? Okay, so in children and teens. So what not scientists, what psychiatrists and psychologists were saying when they're doing studies, like when they do research and studies, what they say is that we all have some narcissistic traits. Well, they say we all have a little bit of narcissism in us. Okay, so basically what they're saying is that all of us have some narcissistic traits. If you look at all the videos that I've done and we've talked about, that pride, that ego, sometimes a lot of us do display. If you've been in a Okay, you guys give me a minute. Hopefully my Facebook doesn't go off, okay? But where was I at? If you look at some of the symptoms of narcissism, when you're dealing with children can be think about teens, for example. Teens is that testosterone, they're competing with each other. They're competing with each other. They're competing for the prettiest girl. They got to be the best athlete. They got to be the strongest. And so some of those traits that you see is normal growth. The way that you might be able to tell, and it really takes because it takes me a little while to be able to identify a narcissist in my office. And the way that you can tell is the lack of empathy is the main thing. They're not able to connect and feel empathy for other people. Children, if you watch a child, if little kids when they do experiences, and somebody's crying, oh, you hurt mommy's feeling, what do most little kids do? They come and try to pat you. It's okay, because what do we do with kids? It's okay, don't cry. And so what do kids do? They repeat what they see. And so they pat the babies, or they pat you, it's okay, or mommy's feelings are hurt, the baby. So you'll see them showing that interest in your feelings, or you cry and they come and bring you a tissue and, oh, mama, are you okay? Or daddy, you okay? And so, it's a normal growth process. Teenagers, teenagers are pretty selfish. They know everything. You can't tell them anything. So teenagers just know everything. And it's competitive, the testosterone and the hormones. I think I'm better than you. And, oh my gosh, she doesn't have the iPhone 50. And oh my gosh, she doesn't have curly hair. She does not have a lace front wig. Oh my gosh, she got the wrong kind of wig and the wrong color doesn't match her face. This is the kind of stuff that these teens go through, okay? But the one thing that you look for is if they lack empathy. If you notice they say things to you, they start saying things to you and they want to see you respond. So when you respond and lose control, they have no empathy and they kind of calm down. So when they do things to make you respond, watch that. And two, if they just don't, it's like they're disconnected, like they can't feel the pain of other people. They cause pain, but they can't feel pain. And then the grandiosity where they present themselves as being entitled, like they're so super entitled. Everyone needs to cater to me, focus on me. It's kind of hard though through childhood to pick it up though. But those are like the two main features, is the lack of empathy, and the things they say things to you, they're very harsh. They say sometimes children are hurt and so they're mean and they're angry. But that lack of empathy is the basic part right there, the one of the basic foundations is the lack of empathy. They do not have the capacity to feel empathy and emotions and feeling and compassion for other people. Those are the main things to look for, especially in kids. Let me go over here. I see you, Miss Robbie. And I see you, Pastor Ollie. Give me just a second. Let me look. You guys have been having a whole conversation without me. Wait up, y'all. Naylor, educate yourself on these demonic people. That lets you know you're not crazy and alone. Biggest thing is prayer. Rahel is gorgeous here. I escaped the narc 2,000 miles away from narc. Got PTSD. Sister, he left me for his ex that he shamed me. He shamed to me for 6 years after I left the Providence state. He says they are now wiser. Girl, they just as dumb as they were before. He hasn't changed. And just to answer the question, Pastor Ali, can you grow out of it? Which is a response to you, Rahel. A narcissist will not change, cannot change. Now, this is on the psychological side of the house. For those of you that are believers, those of you that believe in God, I don't want to disrespect anyone and your belief system. I'm a believer, so I don't want to disrespect anyone's belief system. I know that everyone that's on YouTube is probably not a Christian, so I want to respect everybody's faith, now in the Christian arena, one thing that we do learn is that God can deliver anybody. He's a healer. Okay, so we do know that in the Christian arena, but I don't want to step on anyone's feet, especially on YouTube for your belief system, because I try to come to you from a professional standpoint. Okay, and so I don't want to step on anybody's toes, and make you leave. But in the Christian belief system, we know that God can heal anybody, but they have to want to be healed. Number one. Number two, on the psychological side of the house, on the clinical side of the house, for me, and the studies, if you read research and studies, a personality disorder will not change. You cannot change a personality disorder. It is a permanent characteristic. That is their character. So it is permanent, it is ingrained, and is not changeable. And so it's pathological, meaning that it's dysfunctional. Something has happened as dysfunctional. If you go back and read, there's also a portion of the brain that connects with empathy that is disconnected. There's a chemical, that portion of the brain is smaller. That portion of the brain is affected, and they're not able to feel empathy. This is the portion of our brain that connects empathy, connects experiences to give us empathy for other people. If you've experienced something, you had pain somewhere, that's why, like in this situation, for most of you guys that are on here that have survived narcissist abuse, you have a compassion for those that are going through and the different levels of healing, because you know what it was like for yourself, just like myself. So I have empathy and compassion for people because I know what it was like, and the pain, first of all, of being in the situation, coming out, or trying to come out of the situation. Okay, and so clinically and on the psychological side of the house, personality disorders. Hey, Zanara, how are you doing, classmate? But a narcissist cannot change. Their personality traits is very ingrained, and they cannot change. Hey, Miss Jamila. Any question that you guys have, please jump in, okay? Ask me any question. But a personality trait, a dysfunctional personality trait, pathological mean dysfunctional, there's something wrong. Those personality traits, they do not change. They cannot change their personality. They are dysfunctional. You can help them in counseling when it comes to depression and anxiety, give them medication. But one thing that I found in counseling, when they come into counseling, they don't come in to change. They come in to try to figure out how to control someone else. So a lot of times the information that you give them as a clinician, they just take that so they can use that control people. Their whole mind is set to controlling people, okay? So no, they do not change, okay? So let me go back through what you were saying. Let me see. So what you were saying was that they're wiser now. They're not wiser. He's still the same. He has not changed. You've just taught him. You may have been I don't know you personally, but it sounds like that you were a wonderful partner, a very gracious woman, wanted to love, gave love back. You just trained him even more how to be worse when he goes to the new supply. And so what happens is, I really feel sorry for the new supply, because they don't know what you know, but they're going to find out, and they're getting a hot mess, and they're not wiser. They're absolutely not wiser. And if that's the one that you were telling me about that went back to the ex, she's not wiser, so she hasn't healed. You guys are coming on here and you're learning how to protect yourself from a narcissist, but she hasn't learned, so she just opened herself back up to get abused even worse. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna go over here to this side. Okay, so the other question was, okay, hopefully I answered that question. Lacks empathy and disconnected and super entitled. Yes. Miss Robbie said most narcissists can't change, but if you identify the traits or behavior early, is there help for them? On the clinical side of the house, no. Not from any research that I have seen. So they would have to post new studies or something to show. I'm not sure. I have not seen any study or research saying that it is possible. Do you want my professional opinion? My professional opinion, I think, and I'm not sure, this is just my professional opinion. Keep in mind, even though I may hold a doctor title of education, that does not mean that I'm sure of this. I'm just giving you my professional opinion about this. My professional opinion is if you catch it early, I believe there's a possibility it can be altered. Now I'm just saying, if you catch it early in childhood, I do believe that there's a possibility it could be altered if you catch it. Because a lot of times if you don't catch it, you play into it and you make the situation worse. But if you're dealing with an individual that's had trauma, I believe that you need to take your children to be treated for trauma. If your children have been sexually molested, or you suspect that your child has been sexually molested, sexually violated, you need to get that child to counseling. There's a possibility you might be able to catch it in the early stages before it develops into developing worse. So professionally, I think, I'm not sure. I would need to talk to a psychologist and do more study. But I believe, because remember, there's an injury somewhere. So if they've been sexually violated, ladies, gentlemen, pay close attention to your children. If their behaviors start changing, certain things, and you can ask me questions, I'll tell you some details of what to look for. I can give you sites to go look, some details. Have those conversations with your children. Good touch, bad touch. Don't let your kids go to everybody's house. Don't let your little girl sit in everybody's lap. Don't let them hug and kiss on everybody. But if you suspect that your child may have been sexually assaulted or molested, take them to go to counseling. Listen to them and don't be in denial. Be prepared. You got to lock down and you got to help the children. Because if you don't, I believe that you can interject before it develops into a personality disorder, before that defense mechanism goes wrong. Remember, I told you the ones that I've had in counseling, all of them have been sexually assaulted. But most of the ones that have been sexually assaulted and molested, it was they never went to counseling and never resolved that issue. So I believe professionally that there's a possibility it can be altered. I have not read anything. I have not heard anything. So I'm not sure. Let's see. Yes, there is help for them. Yes, there is help for them. You go take them to counseling. And my professional opinion is I believe that you can interject before it grows into full-fledged narcissism. Into full-fledged narcissistic personality disorder. Let's see. Is there anything here? Ms. Bridget asks, are there similar traits between a sex offender and a narcissist? Okay. Is there similar traits between a sex offender and a narcissist based on the idea that they don't or can't change? Remember we went to a conference yesterday and one of the ladies actually worked with sex offenders. And one of the things that she said, working with sex offenders, she says, even though they say that sex offenders have been rehabilitated, she says sex offenders are never rehabilitated. They're never rehabilitated. And so the traits of a sex offender and a narcissist, some of your sex offenders are narcissists. A lot of the narcissists that I have met are offenders, have offended, thinking about offending. Not all of them, but the majority of ones that I have met are offenders, are sexual offenders, incest, bisexual, but no one knows that they are bisexual. But a lot of sex offenders are narcissists. And sex offenders, as the professional that we were talking to yesterday evening, me and Bridget met, she said not narcissists, but sex offenders do not change. So let's see. You guys are still having this good old conversation without me. Hold on, y'all. Wait up. You know, I got a lot to scroll through here so I can read it to the other people on the other side. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's look. I'm scrolling through all the comments. Let's look. Okay, Mr. Naylor said, went to a funeral and her friend's brother died of cancer. His wife treated mom badly and would beat him. She told me and my ex, at least he wouldn't be treated badly and bear up. Okay, let me read that again. Went to a funeral and her friend's brother died of cancer. So her friend's brother died of cancer. His wife treated mom badly. Okay, his wife treated mom badly and would beat him. So the mom would beat him. The wife treated mom badly and would beat. Oh, the mom beat the guy. Okay. She told me and my ex, at least he won't be treated badly and bear up. Okay, Mr. Naylor, can you clarify that for me? Because I'm not sure what I'm reading. Please clarify. I don't mean to embarrass you. I'm sorry. Could you just clarify what you were saying there so I can respond if you want me to respond, okay? Miss Rahel says she said to you before, that they broke up because he had anger issues. Okay, hold on. Let me look at my own face when I do this, Miss Rahel. Okay, watch my face. She said to you before they broke up because they had anger issues. And then he had anger issues with you, right? So you think that if he didn't resolve the anger issues with her, came to you with anger issues, had anger issues with you, then left and went back to her, his anger issues are resolved. They're intensified. And so what left her that last time is coming back to her worse. You guys remember Pet Cemetery? They don't always come back the same way. So the way he left her is not the way he's coming back. He's coming back 10 times worse than what he left. And this time, the way that he abused her and the way that he trauma bonded her, the abuse is going to be 10 times worse. And not only is she going to her own abuse, by what's going to happen is she's also going to be in proxy for you. So whatever you did, she's going to have to feel the wrath of what you did. Okay. Okay, hold on, I'm coming, Miss Robbie. Okay, let's look. Okay, you saw my face, Miss Rahel, right? Okay, let's look. I'm scrolling. Let's look. You guys were talking so fast. You guys left me out of the conversation. I want to be a part of the conversation. Okay. So Mr. Naylor said, my ex said, yeah, poor guy. I said, really? Wow, you treat me like a doormat. Then it was crocodile tear time. Give me a break, hypocrite. Oh, come on now. She's reversing it on you to make it seem like that she's the victim now. So, of course. Now they're back together posting on, so Ms. Rahel says, now they're back together posting on Facebook in love and wiser. I was stupid to look at Facebook. Ever since then, I've been upset. 8 months and 4 months they're together. Girl, you better be happy that he left. You better be happy you free. Because believe you me, you got to remember, how did he do it with you? It's an illusion. And the illusion, he's trying to make sure that he hurts you as much as he possibly can because you went away. So he's doing everything. The problem is that she's just a pit stop while he's looking for someone better than her. He's already had her. He just took her back as a pit stop while he's looking for another person. You need to be happy. Girl, you better shout and run outside and do cartwheels that they left. Now is your time to process, and it's time for you to heal. I know it's a process. I know it takes time, but girl, you better be happy he left. They're not in love and wiser. He still hate her. He don't love himself. He doesn't have the capacity to feel passion for anybody. She's a source of supply, and she was there when he needed to park somewhere while he's looking for a better supply than her. Trust you me. Yeah, it wasn't a wise thing to look at Facebook because you're going to get all bubbled up. And it's still it's a painful experience. Of course, it's painful. You're still going through, a breakup, a grief and loss, but go through the grief and loss process. I went through a grief and loss process, and now I'm sitting here talking to you about it. But it is a grief and loss process, and I know it's a painful process. But, you got this whole family right here. You got this whole group to encourage you, Miss Rahel. Anytime you want to ask questions, I'll come on live and you guys can have a conversation so I can add my little 2 cents to it. Or you're always welcome to post. But you got family here that's been through what you've gone through. And then on top of that, you got Mr. Naylor, and he's a guy. You know, he's a guy telling you he went through the same thing you went through. And he's a man. And I'm so honored. Thank you for being with us, hanging in there with us, Mr. Naylor. 1253. I am sorry. Okay, let's see. I know that's what I'm dealing with, and I'm looking back, putting puzzles together of all the times what he did, now this. Evil. He did that to call me bad names in front of the kids when he would rage, then got physical. I believe in Jesus, Yeshua, Messiah. Go, girl. So do I. I'm called by the Father in heaven. I'm a believer and a follower of Yeshua. Go ahead, girl. Me too. So why did she take him back? This is what I cannot get. She broke up with her husband and is with him now. Girl, okay. Hold on. Give me a second, okay? Let me go and answer this question. I'm going to answer yours. Ms. Robbie said, most narcissists are great manipulators. Most women that are trauma bonded don't know how to get out and are afraid to expose them due to being torched in private. Definitely. Because remember, you're still dealing. Okay, so this is what Ms. Robbie said over here on Facebook. She said, most narcissists are great manipulators. Most women that are trauma bonded don't know how to get out and are afraid to expose them due to being torched in private. Because you're dealing with a person that is, you know, it is domestic. Even though we're talking about narcissist abuse, narcissists, those people with narcissistic personality disorder are people, that are batterers. You are in a domestic violence situation. You just happen to be in a domestic violence situation with an individual that has a mental health disorder called narcissistic personality disorder. And narcissists have similar characteristics. If you notice all the stories that you guys are telling, everybody was doing the exact same thing. It's just that Mr. Naylor was dealing with a female, where the female could be more dramatic, and most of you women were dealing with a male. But if you look at your stories, all the stories are similar. All of us went through the exact same thing. And so, yes, they're great manipulators, and they're going to, you know, their whole thing is to make, you know, they have flying monkeys. Their whole thing is to make people believe them and make you look like you're crazy. But most of the time when a woman or a man, you know, when a woman is exasperated, when you're just tired, I'm tired of being abused, you don't care what people think anymore. So of course, now they've painted a picture to everybody. And so when you lose it, people are looking like, oh my gosh, she's exactly how he said she was. Poor guy. And then, you know, but they don't know that you're being re-victimized. You're being re-victimized because no one knows what you're going through in private. These are those covert narcissists. Those are the ones that don't let anybody to know. They're charismatic, they're talkers, they have a great personality. Some of them have a great sense of humor. And these are the ones that abuse their children in private. And yes, you're absolutely right. Let me see. You are absolutely right. A lot of them go right back and abuse you in private. And go watch the trauma bonded video. You're absolutely right, Miss Robbie. You are absolutely right. Okay, you guys had a whole bunch to say before I got a chance to go back and look. Let me go look. Okay. Okay, so what you said was, so why did she take him back? This is what I cannot get. She broke up with her husband and is with him now. Listen. Hey there, Prophet Stanley. Thank you so much for watching. I am so honored. Miss Rahel, what you ask is what you can't understand is why did she take him back? Okay, answer this question. I want you to think for a minute. First of all, you think about what happened with you, right? So they put on this great illusion, and what happened was he hoovered you, and then he love bombed you. He made himself look like this great person, and you fell for him, right? You fell for this individual. So when you fell for this individual, he did everything that he possibly can to convince you, and this is male and females alike, so this is not just all males, but females too. But in your situation, you know, he made you think that he was the greatest listener, that he was a very compassionate individual, and what happened is you talked. Because you talk from a place of vulnerability. You talk from a place of pain, and you probably told him your vulnerabilities and the pains and the thing. Women talk too much a lot of times. A lot of times we talk entirely too much. And so you probably told him a lot of vulnerabilities. So he became you wrote the script with your mouth. And so when you wrote the script with your mouth, he stepped into a role to play that role, but he never had any intention of loving you. You know that he cannot love you. He has no sense of compassion. He has no conscience. He has no empathy. And so, but he got what he needed from you, and he had discarded. He discarded her. He discarded her because you had a better supply at that particular time. You picked up and you start putting your foot down and you started noticing some things, and he couldn't control you like he wanted to control you or like he used to control you because you became a little smart. And so or you discarded him. So the quickest escape, 9 times out of 10, if he goes back to an old supply, is because of the fact he hadn't locked in another supply. And so he probably went back to the old supply because he hadn't found another supply, but he's on the search for another supply. Believe you me, he thinks that she's stupid because number one, he's already had her. Number two, she never healed. She never healed and she's still vulnerable. They hoover. So while he was with you, and I hate to say this, please forgive me because I know this is a very painful topic, but I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to keep it raw. But he was still hoovering her. They shelf. Okay, so you were the intimate, she was the primary source at one point in time. Then you became the primary source. And then she became the secondary. He may have put her on the shelf and put her in this little glass and he, break the glass in case of an emergency, right? So he never stopped hoovering her. He never stopped hoovering her. He always made sure that the door was open. So you didn't know that he was still hoovering her. That's why it was easy for him to go back because they had been talking the whole time that you guys had been together. He's never been faithful. And if it was that easy for her to take him back, you already know he was hoovering her. So she never closed that door. You closed the door and moved almost 2,000 miles away, all the way to the East Coast to get away from him. And so he doesn't have easy access to you anymore. But what he's doing now, because you escaped him, he's hoovering you, but the way that he's doing it is he's doing it through Facebook. And you went and you fell right for the trap. And so she never healed. She's not getting what you're getting. So in reality, even though you're angry and you're hurt, you really should feel sorry for her, but because you know what you got rid of and you know what she's getting back. But for her, it's going to be even worse. Stop concerning yourself about why did she take her back. When you're hurt and you're in pain, a lot of the questions that come through your mind is, why could he or she do me like this? I've been with this person. I don't know how many years you said you've been with this person. I've been with this person for so many years and I put my life into this person. Why would this person do me like this? Why would they change? Some people were never really truly committed to you. Sometimes, and especially dealing with a narcissist, they weren't committed to you. They liked what you offered. They liked the image that you held, maybe the job that you had, maybe, the persona that you had, or maybe the people that you're affiliated with, or, what you can do and how many followers you have, or, or what kind of money you make, or the job, or prestigious, or you may have been a good homemaker, and so they look at supply. You can look like a baboon, girl. You can look like a baboon, but you had... I had to make myself laugh. I'm sorry. That was a good one. Hold on. That was a good one. But you can look like a baboon. But if you have some good supply and some fuel, they want that fuel. I know, Rahel. I'm sorry, girl. I made my own self laugh. You could look like a baboon. If you look like a baboon and you drive a Bentley, they may want you, Because there's something that you had that he wanted. And once you stood up and you started noticing, they watch everything. They mimic and they focus and they watch everything they do. Therapists are trained to look at nonverbal cues. We watch facial expression. We watch the squint in your eye. We watch how you hold your mouth when you're talking. We watch your body language. Narcissists have perfected that. The lower narcissists have not. They're learning from you. So they're watching you. And so trust you me, you were supply. And she is a supply, but she's a temporary supply. And he's posting those things knowing that you're going to look because you're hurt. So they know that you're going to look. They're going to look. And it opened up the wound all over again. You got to go through your healing process. You can't make anybody love you. You can't make anybody stay with you, and you can't make anybody love you. As long as you've done what you were supposed to do, then do know that you've done the best that you could do. A narcissist is not going to change. A narcissist cannot love you, and a narcissist is not going to love you. You are a source of supply. Remember, I keep talking about that brand new car with that brand new smell? Remember that beautiful leather smell? And I know, now, y'all don't judge me, okay? But when I got my new car, I used to drive by the windows and look at myself in the car. I wasn't looking at myself. I was looking at my new car. My car tended to be bigger than everybody else's car. I used to just go in the garage and stare at my car. My car was the cleanest car you could ever have. Nothing wrong with my car. You go look at my car now, I have to fight my child to get her stuff out the back seat. And I need to wash my car. But when they had that new leather smell, and it's actually a glue smell, when they had a new leather smell, and see, think about this. That's how a narcissist looks at people. You are a car and you have a new leather smell, and they get excited. Eventually, you start losing that smell, and then you dirty. Then they need to go get another car. You know, you are supply. You're not even a human being to them. You serve a purpose to make them look good. And people who have been in long-term relationships, that is the most painful thing, to break up all the thoughts that you had in your mind and the future you had planned with this individual, for them to break your heart. But one thing that I always say, what comes around goes around. For some people it's karma, for some people it's what comes around goes around, and for other people believe in the Bible. You know, those of you that do believe in the Bible, but I always say what comes around goes around. Do believe that, okay? Okay, Ms. Robbie had a question. What was your question? I'm coming back. You guys are talking without me? Hold on. Do most women that are victims of narcissists have father issues, and do they make them easy prey for narcissists? Let me think about that. So Ms. Robbie asked, do most women that are victims of narcissist abuse, that's what you're saying, have father issues, and does that make them easy prey for narcissists? Okay, let's look and see. Most women that fall victim to a narcissistic man, let's just say it like that, women that fall prey to a narcissistic man, okay, and I'm gonna challenge you guys over here on YouTube, okay? So what she said, do most women that are victims of narcissist abuse or a narcissist have father issues, and do they make easy prey for narcissistic abuse or a narcissist? So let me say this. The father is the most powerful person in a family. A healthy father is the most powerful person within a family. Women can raise up some awesome men. We have some awesome men that are on Facebook and that are on YouTube. But women can do an awesome job raising up men. But there are certain things that we don't know. And I'm going to say this from a clinical perspective, so I'm going to talk to you guys as if I'm sitting in my office, okay? So I'm going to talk to you guys from a clinical perspective. Most women do not know that you don't put a boy on the toilet backwards, right? But a single parent, that's the only way that we know how to do it. I think my son's father told me, don't ever do that again. Put him on your tippy toes and tell him to shake, okay? I didn't know that. I'm a female. So I'm going to teach them the same way that we learn to use the bathroom, right? So there are some things that a woman does not know that men know when it comes to raising boys, right? Another thing, a woman can't teach a man how to shave. We've seen people shave, but who knows anything about ingrown, for African-American men, the ingrown hairs, and that they have to shave down with the grade of the hair, or with our, Caucasian men or men with straight hair, you can go against, is it against the grade? You can shave down and, or you can shave up, and you can do the close shave. And for most African-American men, they can't because the hair curls and it grows into so, okay. But who knows that? What woman knows that unless you're taught by a man, right? Another thing, if you think about it, women get their confidence from their fathers, right? Or the male figure in the family, right? A male is a very powerful presence in the household. The women get their confidence from their fathers, not their mothers. Mothers can teach. We can teach a lot of things to young women. Close your legs. Be a lady. You can be a businesswoman. I'm teaching my child. I'm a single woman. I teach my daughter, my older kids. I have older kids and I have one young one. So all my kids are out of the home. So my young one, but I have a business. And so she watches me run a business. I teach her. I give her a little money so I can teach her how to be a businesswoman. I can teach her how to be a strong woman. She does have a father that's in her life. Her father, takes her out, takes her on dates. And so she has something to look at. She has something to look at. And so she'll see, unconsciously, she's going to seek what her father presented to her. So if her father loves her and says kind words to her, tells her she's pretty, that's where we get our confidence from. We get our confidence from our fathers. They tell her, we're pretty little girls, I love you, you're daddy's little girl. Okay. Now, if the father is absent out of the home, and I'm just giving you my professional opinion, this is me, all therapists don't think like this, okay? When the father is absent from the home, what do we have to look at? A lot of women have they come from dysfunctional homes, and so we see a lot of abuse. Abuse is a learned behavior, and so if we come from a violent environment, or Uncle Bob Okay, you guys remember New Edition? So Uncle Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike coming through your house. So what impression are you setting on your little girls? No one comes in my house. I don't date, so no one comes in my house. So my daughter's never seen me with anybody except for her father when I was married. And so, but think about the impression that, so if the father's not in the home, what kind of example do we have for relationships, right? We don't have an example of a relationship. And then 9 times out of 10, with the family that I'm with in my church community, I watch my pastor and her husband had a very healthy relationship, very respectful relationship. And so even if I didn't see it or even chill, there has to be an example somewhere. So if there's no example there, most women are out looking for what? They're looking for their dads. They're looking for affirmation. They're looking for love. They're looking for someone to affirm them. They're looking for security. They're looking for all the things that the father provides in a home, right? If it's not there, most of us go looking for our daddies. So when we go out dating, though it sounds kind of gross, but when we go to date, we're looking for what we didn't see at home. And we create these images in our heads. So we create these images in our heads and we're looking for something that we have no experience with, but we're trying to create these images in our head. And a lot of times men are trying to live up to images in our head that they know nothing about. You're holding them accountable, or you're holding them accountable to what the image is in your head, and you're creating an image. Okay, so now having said all that, you are now vulnerable. You're very vulnerable because you don't know what you're looking for. So what does the narcissist do? You got daddy issues, or you don't have an example of what a relationship has been like, or you come out of a home that was a violent home or a chaotic home. What are you drawn to? You're drawn to the lie that the narcissist tells you. And the narcissist is an illusionist. They study you. Before they approach you, they've probably already been watching you. They've been stalking you and they've been watching you. They've been asking questions about you. And if they didn't ask questions about it, they've been watching you to see what your weaknesses are. Then they present themselves as that perfect person. You got daddy issues, trust you me. They're going to make sure they fill in that gap. And believe you me, they're going to talk to you and you're going to tell all your vulnerabilities. You're going to tell all your issues, right? And so they play that perfect role. You have drawn the script, you have written the script to the play, and so now they play the part. And so think about it. Most of us are vulnerable. Most of us women are vulnerable. A lot of times we're hurt. We've come out of bad relationship. We come out of bad families. All we want is some love. We want respect, and we want to give love to someone else. So that narcissist plays that perfect role, and he shows up like a knight in shining armor. And for you, Mr. Naylor, as a female, for a female, having a female narcissist that you were, connected with, you have some vulnerability, sir. And you have some heartbreak, and you probably have some family history and dysfunctional history where you were vulnerable. You wanted to be loved. You wanted to be honored. And ladies, a man needs to be honored. A man needs to be respected. A woman wants that security, wants that love, wants to be told that she's pretty. A man needs to be honored, and a man needs to be respected. That's what a man desires. I'm not saying that they need sex. Of course they do. That's a part of, relationships. But when that whole family dynamic is messed up and you're coming out of dysfunctional home, you don't even know what you're looking for. You don't even know what a relationship is supposed to look like. You don't know what a relationship is supposed to look like. So it makes you vulnerable. It makes you a target for a narcissist. So hopefully that answered your question, Ms. Robbie. Please let me know if I answered that question. Okay, you guys had a whole conversation without me, you guys. Give me just a minute. Let me scroll up. So we got to the baboon. We got beyond that. Okay, so Mr. Naylor said, nobody will understand you, Rahel. And it's hard to explain to someone who hasn't gone through it. They'll just give you the stink eye. Mr. Naylor, were you raised by women? I wish I was closer. Closer to here? Oh, you would have a great support family over here, Miss Rahel. Because no closer, he took off no closer at all. I had a pastor, so Miss Donna, just being real, said I had a pastor that was a narc. She couldn't stand me because I unmasked her. Shake my head. They are everywhere. Shake my head. You know what? When you're first coming out, I did answer. Okay. Well, thank goodness. If you have any other question, please ask. You said the pastor was a narc, so she couldn't stand. You know what? When it comes to a female narcissists compete with other strong females. Normally, when a male gets with a woman, they're looking for supply. They're looking for fuel in a woman. When a female narcissist tries to get close to you as a female, not always necessarily in a sexual context, but when a female tries to get close to you, is because of the fact that they admire something about you and they want to dominate you. They want to have control over you and make you look bad. And so usually they can't stand strong women because they're not strong women at all. They're very weak individuals. Remember, the narcissist, even male, are weak individuals. So the female is a very weak individual, and you have some real strength. She hates you because you have the strength. So the whole thing is to break your strength down and make you look weak. And if you're a type of person that's just not easily broken, they usually cut you off and don't even talk to you. They don't even try to fool with you. They're ugly individuals. They're very ugly individuals. So let's see. Rahel said, yes, Donna, thank you, Doc. Everywhere. They're everywhere. I told you guys I thought my cat was a narcissist, and the cat was only hungry, doing what cats do. My parents were in a toxic relationship. I witnessed a lot of abuse from my dad to my mom, shelters from 9 months to 2 times. But do you see, you come from a toxic family, so it made you vulnerable and it made you a target for a narcissist. Thank you, Miss Jamila. But it made you a target for a narcissist because you came out of a dysfunctional, abusive, toxic family. All you want is some normalcy. All you want, most women just want to be loved. Men want to be loved and respected and honored, but women want love and they want, so that narcissist is going to create that heaven for you. And their whole thing is to ruin you. Their whole thing is to ruin you. I got to keep on tapping this. So for me, yeah, Rahel, all over shake my head. That's why I got no friends to hang out with. This is so true about the father role. I had no father in the home. Rahel, wow, snakes. Yep. Rahel, let me tell you something. It took me a long time, because I didn't trust people, period. It took me a long time, I can't speak for everyone. You have to find your tribe. And when I say tribe, you got us here on YouTube. You got us, even if you go on Facebook, on professional Facebook site, and you got us to support you. Sometimes it's not good to just connect with anybody. You have to be very particular at who you connect with. I myself have a large church family, and so I spend a lot of time with them, because I'm always there. So I have a large church family, and my church family are comedians. If you don't laugh when you're there, and laughter is good for you. So I have a large church family, and everybody loves to laugh. We love to laugh, and we love each other. And it's the right kind of love. And when I say the right kind of love, when I first came, I was very, very hurt. I was very injured. I just wanted to go to church and leave. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to church and leave. Don't touch me. Don't hug me. And what helped me the most was the fact that I was in the military. So in the military, I didn't believe in people touching me. And hey, Miss Stephanie. But I didn't believe in people touching me. So in the military, you don't touch the leaders. You don't touch it. So it made it a perfect environment for me to come in my uniform. Don't touch me. Don't get in my space. I was very angry. I was very mean. And you guys know. Hold on, I'm going to talk to my family over here, okay? And y'all know, hey, Miss LaWanda, y'all know how shy I am. And I'm a very quiet individual. I'm very shy, Anyway, don't judge me. Anyway, I can make my own self laugh. You see, Miss Rahel? You got to be able to make your own self laugh. Let me tell you something. I ride in the car and laugh at my own jokes. Before I tell a joke, I laugh at my own joke. So I laugh when my daughter looks at me and asks me why am I laughing, and has to laugh at me laughing myself. I crack myself up, okay? But anyway, as I was saying, see, you love to laugh. That's what I'm talking about. Girl, you come on this you come on this Facebook, or you come on this YouTube, I'll make you laugh. I'll make myself laugh, and you laugh at me laughing at myself, okay? But what I did was, as I was going through my process of healing, I didn't trust people because I had been so hurt and so broken. And when I got with my church family, the family that, and I can't speak for everyone. I can't, whatever your belief system is, your belief system. For me, it just so happened that, Jamila, don't judge me. Miss Bridget, don't judge me. See, they're judging me because I'm a very quiet individual. This is just my YouTube persona. I'm a quiet, petite, shy individual. I can't help it that my inside voice sounds like my outside voice. It was the military that did it. Y'all stop judging me in front of other family. But what I'm saying is, it took me a while to begin to heal enough where I could call them family, because you've been I'm not even going to tell you what they're saying about me over here. But we're all petite. That's right, girl. We fluffy petite. That's what I'm talking about. But anyway, but what I was saying is it took me a while to heal enough to open up my heart to the women that were around me. Now, I'm not saying men that were around me, but women that were around me. And it took me a long time to trust the men that were around me in the church. And when I say that, you know, the brothers that stayed and as we grew, you know, those that were permanent fixtures, and I got to know them because they kind of got the tail end of my anger and my hurt too. And thank God that these protect you, you know, and they made me feel safe. My pastor, she's one that talks about domestic violence a lot as well. And if you go on my Facebook page, I also post a lot of her teaching on there. And so for those of you that are looking for the spiritual side or you know, if you want to hear the spiritual side of narcissism or just encouragement, you know, go to my professional Facebook page, or you can also look under Apostle Helen Sadler under Periscope or under Facebook. And please follow her. Follow her, and she does teachings during the week. She's a destiny helper. She does teachings. So for those of you that not only need the clinical side of the house where I can provide you with information about narcissism, she also provides the spiritual side for those of you that are interested in that part. And I'm not disrespecting anybody's belief system. But it took me a while, Rahel, to trust the women that where I was around. And the one thing that I had to learn is that everybody was not a narcissist, number one. But number two, all of us were experiencing different type of pain. And you know that hurting people hurt people. And what I had to learn was that they were human just like I was human. I made mistakes and I hurt a lot of people. I mean, you know, not really, but I hurt a lot of people because I was hurting. I hurt people trying to defend myself and protect my heart. And in the midst of that, I would hurt people that were hurting, and vice versa. People that were hurting, you know, hurt me. And so at first I was very defensive, like everybody is like this, everybody's like this, but hurting people hurt people sometimes. And I learned, I've been with them for 12 years. And so I got to learn, and I learned to have sisters and family. And that is my support group. Those are the people that I rely on and lean on for laughter. But for me, I'm a very, believe it or not, even though I love to laugh, I like to joke, you know, you see me speaking engagements, I'm a very private individual. I like my peace and quiet. I'm in the house by myself. I like my private time. I like being alone and being by myself. And Miss Rahel, you may have to, in your healing process, what you may have to learn to do is learn to be alone and learn to be at peace with your mind. If you come from a toxic family and you've been through all this domestic violence, it's not time to connect with anybody. It's time for you to be by yourself and first of all enjoy and learn being by yourself. I take myself out to the movies. I go places. You have to learn how to love yourself first, okay? I know it's getting late, so I'm going to get off here in just a minute, okay? I'm just going to answer a few more of these questions here, okay? No father in the home, okay. Mr. Naylor, you grew up in a physically abusive home and alcoholism. See, Mr. Naylor, you were predisposed already. And so you became very vulnerable. And so you too, sir, you know, you're looking for love. You became very vulnerable and you have patches in your heart that have not healed yet. And so you became vulnerable to a narcissist. They're predators. They're soul hunters. They look for people that are hurt and broken. They don't look for the strong people, meaning strong where that person can point them out. They look for people that have been wounded and injured, okay? And Rahel, yes, my dad would smoke weed and my mom hated it. You come from a toxic environment. Mr. Naylor said, my mother was a great woman. She pushed us to do great things. My father never showed any emotion or told us that he loved us. I'm the opposite of my father. You're an empath. You're over empathetic. Because you didn't get it, you became over empathetic, which made you a target for a narcissist. Ms. Robbie said, love yourself and set boundaries, Ms. Rahel. So over here, Ms. Robbie, who's on my Facebook page, said, love yourself and set boundaries. And stick to those boundaries, okay? Mr. Naylor said, daughter was always hugged and loved to the fullest. She's 21 and is daddy's little girl. I didn't turn into my dad. Good job, sir. I'm honored, sir. And I'm honored the type of father that you are. You do great things. And believe you me, when you show your daughter, you know, you are the most powerful person in your daughter's life. And what you're doing, you hug her, you love her, you make sure that she knows that she's honored and respected by her father. You're setting a standard for her. And really what you're doing is you're safeguarding her from a narcissistic predator. And because but you have to watch the type of women that you connect to, okay? You got to, because you have a little girl that's watching you as a father. But sir, you're setting a standard for your daughter, and the standard that you're setting for your daughter is what she's going to measure every man by. Unconsciously or consciously, she's going to measure every other man by how you love her, okay? Miss Rahel said, yes, that is why I'm a target. I just want a safe home for my family and to have a good man, not to, and to be a good wife. Well, first of all, before you go looking for a good man, you need to go find yourself to be a good woman yourself. You need to heal yourself and love yourself. I'm looking at your picture. I can't make your picture any bigger, but you're gorgeous. You're a beautiful lady. So are you, Miss Donna, just being real. You guys are some gorgeous women. So you guys are narc bait. As beautiful as you two are, you guys are narc bait. So right there is your looks, first of all. So Miss Rahel, you too beautiful to be looking for any. First of all, let the man find you. Let him hunt you. Let's just not take the hunt out of a tiger. I mean, out of a lion. Okay, let's go back old school. Let men hunt the women. Okay, let him hunt you. But before you get into any relationship, you got to detoxify and demagnetize yourself, because right now you're still vulnerable and you're hurt. And if you are vulnerable and hurt, a narcissist will manifest and play the role for you to make you feel safe, secure, and beautiful. And Ms. Donna, just being real, said, exactly, Dr. Carmen. She was a piece of work. I was great with the youth group. Shake my head. See? She hated strength. Ms. Rahel said, I love to laugh. I lost my laughing and light, shiny, happy all the time. Thank you so much, Dr. Carmen. You're welcome, girl. You come in here more often. I'll make myself laugh. And you just laugh at me laughing at me, okay? Mr. Naylor said, Doctor, we're all petite. You petite too, Mr. Naylor. You petite. You petite. You're a petite man. Miss Rahel said, what does petite mean? I am from Canada, so I'm not tuned in with lingo. Petite means very tiny. Petite means you're maybe even short and you're very tiny. Mr. Naylor said, one thing I learned, Dr. Bryant, no matter how careful you are, you can still find a bad and abusive person and empathetic. By then, it's too late, but it's never too late to heal yourself. God tests us. Mr. Naylor, even you as a man, you still take your time before you get into a relationship. Don't get into a relationship. Don't jump into a relationship right away. Think about your daughter. What type of man do you want your daughter to have? Because you think about this too. What you allow a woman to do to you, your daughter will do to a man. So you're training her right now. So be careful. Miss Rahel said, okay, I will take myself out in the healing date. Take yourself out to the movies too. Go get your hair did, girl. Get your nails did. Go get them hooves shaved down. Go get your foots done. Rahel, petite means tiny and thin. Like we all are, right, doctor? Yes, we're tiny and petites. Miss Rahel said, thank you, Miss Robbie. Miss Rahel, thank you for all your inspiration. Talk to me, your inspiration to me. Oh my God, Dr. Carmen, that's what I was told. Shake my head, it hurts. Yep, petite, I'm petite. Girl, yeah, you petite. Hooves. Are you laughing at me, Mr. Naylor? Okay, y'all, I know it's getting late because I see you guys are starting to get off. I know it's getting late, so let's wind this down. So, you know, I would, like in church, let's take an offering, y'all. No. Say, listen, hey, I'm going to get my hair and nails done and all that, girl, and all that. Go get your foots done. I need to go get my feet done. I think my toenails are coming through the stockings, but don't tell nobody that's our secret, okay? Hey, y'all don't judge me. Okay, look, let me give you guys some encouragement. You know, today is Sunday. For some of you guys are 3 hours ahead, so I know it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. For those of you that are on the East Coast, some of you guys are 2 and 1 hour, and I know it's late. Most everybody's getting to go to work. Let me tell you something. You're so welcome. Don't forget your hooves. I know, right? I'm going to go get my hooves done, too. I don't want to tear up nobody's carpet when I go visit. If I come to your house and visit, I'll tear your carpets up. But I'm going to use my outside, inside voice. Hey. Because I'm so quiet and shy. Y'all don't judge me. Listen, you guys are getting ready to start off, you know, your week. Let me just give you guys some encouragement. Most of us have been through domestic violence. Most of us have been through your hooves. Love you, sis. Love you, family. I'm going to get my pine trees trimmed. Y'all comedians, what you talking about? You guys are funny. You guys need to go over to YouTube and see these guys cut up over here. Hey, Miss Cassandra, y'all need to go over here to YouTube and see these guys over here cutting up. Hey, Miss LaWan11, you guys, and nose hair. Hey, these guys over here on YouTube are cutting up, y'all. You guys gotta go over here and listen to their conversation. Y'all funny. Listen, but we're gonna start the week, okay? I want you guys to be encouraged. Look how you guys came on here and you guys feel lighter. You know what I mean? Listen, I went through it for 22 plus years. And that was just one relationship. I went through it before. And when I talk about before, raped, beaten, left in the field, locked in the house, later on, narcissist abuse for 20 some odd years, I done been through it. You see what I mean? But I haven't lost my smile. I haven't lost my laughter, okay? I mean, it was a time in between there that I did struggle and I became a comedian, but I joked out of pain. Okay, and then I met my church family over here, and they are hilarious. Okay, and so I was able to connect with people, and then I realized that the pain that you guys have gone through and the pain that I went through is to help somebody out. Miss Robbie said, "This really blessed me tonight. Thanks so much, Dr. Bryant. Keep smiling, keep cracking yourself up, cause you gonna laugh when I crack up. Y'all laugh at me laughing at myself." But listen, I want you guys to be encouraged. Narcissist abuse is no joke. Domestic violence is no joke. It's real. And for people, a lot of times the person has created this image in other people's head about you, that you're crazy, that you don't know what you're talking about. You know, everybody's the victim. Everybody's the victim. You know what? You went through what you went through and it was real. Mr. Naylor, you keep doing, you know, what you're doing with your daughter. You keep encouraging her, but you got to be careful with who you connect with, because you could recreate that in your daughter, and your daughter will abuse a man, okay? But let me tell you, we all been through something. We all been hurt, you know, but tomorrow's just another day. It's just like an Alcohol Anonymous or drug and alcohol addiction. It says you got to take one day at a time. I didn't get this way in one day. And those people that were close to me, they watched me in my pain. They watched my eyes tear up. They watched me have to do things. And sometimes I didn't, believe it or not, sometimes I didn't want to get out of bed. Sometimes I didn't want to leave the house. But I still had a clinic to run. I still had people that I had to deal with. I still had to interact. I still had a child to raise. I still had to go do what I do. But on the inside, I was broken and I was hurt. But you know what? I went and did it. And I went through my grief and loss process. You have to go through the grief and loss process. If you don't go through the grief and loss process, you're not going to finish the process. You're not going to be where you need to be. And if I can make it through, you can make it through. And a lot of the people that I've been around, and Miss LaWanda said, I was abused for over 30 years. I had no idea why until your teaching. You know what? Thank you so much for watching, Miss LaWanda. And thank you for being honest enough to talk about it, you know. But you see, so you guys are not the only ones. Most of the people who are watching have been through abuse. But I want you guys to be encouraged this week, okay? I want you guys to go and do something nice for yourself. Buy yourself a cup of coffee and sit in the coffee shop by yourself. Learn to be by yourself and learn to enjoy your own company. You know, if there's nobody else around, I enjoy being by myself. I enjoyed me. At one point in time, I didn't like me, nor did I enjoy myself. I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy me. A lot of times I just like, because I'm so busy, sometimes I really enjoy being in my house by myself. Sometimes I like going to the mall by myself. I talk for a living. So I talk in the clinical setting, I talk on the outside, I talk on scope, whatever. I talk all the time, and then I'm a talker on top of that. I will talk. I will entertain you. I will talk to you. But a lot of times, most people don't know, you know, you got the introverts and the extroverts. I balance both because I'm introvert and extrovert at the same time. I know I'm well balanced. When I took the test, I'm well balanced because I prefer to be quiet. I prefer not to talk at all and sit and be very quiet because I do it all day long. And so you guys have to go and learn to be by yourself. Go to the movies and treat yourself. Go get your hooves done. Go get your nasal hairs plucked, Mr. Naylor. Go get your pine trees trimmed down, you know. Do something nice. Get your hair done. Get a new hairstyle. Look pretty. You know, dress nice. Buy yourself something nice. Look pretty. And the ladies that I have on, you guys are gorgeous. You know, be beautiful. Be happy. You know, but before you connect with anybody else, you got to be able to present them with a good package. And I want you guys to be encouraged. Just like in drug and alcohol and AA meetings and stuff, they tell you one day at a time. One day at a time. Some of you guys are coming out of toxic relationships. Some of you guys are in toxic relationships. Some of you guys are in abusive relationships, male and females alike. Some of you guys are in relationships where someone has lost the love for one another, never had it. Some of you guys are, you know, I know, right? But some of you guys, some of you guys are hurting. Some of you guys are in pain. But I want you to be encouraged, okay? Go do something nice for yourself. You know, go and be free. Be happy. And then, you know, I'll come back and make you laugh. You know, I did not mean to stay on this long. It's 104 minutes. That's what, 60, it's an hour and 40 minutes. I did not mean to be on this long. I'm so sorry, you guys. I know you got other stuff to do. Nobody want to listen to me talk all this time. Thank you guys for, you know, thank you YouTube family for making me laugh. You guys got to get on YouTube. These folks over here are hilarious. Let me look what the last comments were and then I'm gone, okay? Thanks to you, Doc. I want to have the light shine again like you have. Girl, you will. It's a process. It's a process. I'm just living evidence and a witness to you that it's possible. And if I could tell you my story, and some of my family over here know my story, if I could tell you my story, you'd be surprised at the fact that I'm laughing. Make myself laugh. Mr. Naylor said, one love, all we have been through the fire. Let's help each other heal. Great session. Dr. Bryant, you're so welcome. Amen, Dr. Bryant. Great live chat, night chat. I just want to chat to you guys. I was thinking about you guys as I was coming home tonight, so I just want to come on. Bless you. May the Heavenly Father cover all of us and bring happiness and shalom in Yeshua mighty name. Amen. Amen. That's how I feel. I don't know Ariane is, but I will rise up. Gonna do this with most high help. He allowed me to escape the narc. Praise him. That's right. That's right. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking that is what I'm going to do tomorrow in the corner coffee shop. All by yourself, get a book. You know, get a book and read a book. Mr. Neller said, LOL, don't worry, Doc. I'm going to get you and Rahel Grinder to get them hooves shaved down a grinder. Miss Rahel said, LOL, I shave my hooves on a daily basis. They over here cutting up, y'all. Tell Zariel, give her kisses. Hey, you guys have to come over here to YouTube. This group over here is hilarious. You guys are funny. Mr. Nelly, you are hilarious. I won't tear up nobody's carpet, I promise. And if I go to somebody's house with hardwood floors, I'm going to wear socks, okay? Go on your bad self with that craftsman grinder. I'm done with y'all. Hey, good night. I'm through. Hey, y'all got to go on YouTube. These guys are hilarious. Hey, I enjoyed laughing with you guys. See? All you have to do is just come together and laugh. I'm going to laugh, and I'm going to laugh real loud. When I use a pumice stone, girl, you might have to go get a grinder. Hey, sound like a chihuahua. I'm done. Bye, Mr. Naylor. Hey, good night, you guys. You guys have an awesome evening. I enjoyed you guys so much. You guys kept me company. I'm glad to make you guys smile, okay? Hey, and I'll be back. I'll be back, and I'm going to do a for real teaching next time, okay? I just want to, I can't see your faces, but I can see your pictures. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you guys for giving me an opportunity to answer some questions and to know that you guys were laughing on the other end. Mr. Naylor, you are hilarious. Hey, you guys take care, okay? Good night. And you guys enjoy your week. And remember, you guys go and be great. That's right. We family, Miss Rahel. We are family. You go take care of you guys yourself, okay? Good night, everybody. You guys have, okay, so you guys know I got to push buttons, so I don't know. I might be tapping a little while. But don't judge my life, okay? Don't judge my life. Oh, good morning. I'm sorry. Bye, you guys.